Listen up, it's time to stop going viral. What's up, FlowChat fam? Chris here, co-founder and CEO of FlowChat.com, the B2B sales tool that helps you sell more of your product and service. Today, we get to talk to another real entrepreneur that is absolutely getting real results. And he's been doing this not just for the last year or 2 years, but like for a decade, probably almost decades at this point. And he is the sought after video authority expert. You hopefully and probably have already seen plenty of his ads. So without further ado, I'd like you to join in on this conversation with us today with Mr. Aleric. Aleric, how's it going, man?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Chris. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, we've got a great conversation ahead of us, multiple fun video things to get into, but just, I will cover some story and background for any new viewers towards the second half. I like to jump right into the hook. You're the video guy, Aleric, and you're telling people to not go viral. What on earth what do you mean by this?
Well, I think the thing is stop trying to go viral. A lot of people, they're trying to go viral, trying to get a lot of views. But the reality is it's not views most of us as business owners are actually after, because views don't pay the bills. You can't take likes to the bank. What you're really after are clients. And so you need to start with the end in mind. Now, this doesn't mean don't grow your channel as big as it can possibly go with your audience. But what it does mean is don't try just to chase the trends and try to go viral for viral's sake. Because let's put it this way. Let's say you do go viral. And the problem is a lot of people chase trying to go viral and they create this content that tries to appeal to everybody, but ultimately doesn't really appeal to anybody. And, it's not really about your core expertise. But if you create all this content trying to go viral, oftentimes it actually doesn't happen, ironically. But let's say it does happen. Let's say you do create a piece of content that goes viral. Well, usually what that piece of content is something that is very, very broad or very mass market. And it's actually just going to flood your business with lower quality leads and people that aren't actually interested in what it is that you do. And I know you know all about this, with FlowChat and everything. It's like the power of having high quality leads that actually want to speak with you, that actually are an ideal client. And so what we want to do is instead position yourself as what we call a video authority. I know we're going to talk about the book, but the subheadline is The Art and Science of Converting Viewers into Clients. There are a lot of books out there, content out there, entire YouTube channels dedicated to helping people go viral and get lots of views. And if you're trying to be a YouTube influencer, if you're trying to be the next, Mr. Beast, like by all means, there's a lot of great content that talks about that. But the strategy that you're going to do that is very different than the strategy that actually generates the most revenue for your business, actually promoting your products and services and reaching your ideal clients and your ideal audience. One final piece that I'll put on that point, then we'll dive as deep as we want here, is I have 2 YouTube channels. I have one that's more of a, maybe not viral, but like a mass market YouTube channel. My original channel I started 17 years ago, or almost 17 years ago now, where I was reviewing mobile apps, tech tutorials, teaching people how to use their iPhone, millions of views. I've video with like 8 million views, teaching people how to use their iPhone 7 for the first time. I made like a decade ago, and which is funny. And that channel grew to over 600,000 subscribers, over 120 million views on across the videos, and that channel has made me, the last I tabulated this, so it's going to be more now, but the last I had tabulated, right, had made around $2.4 million. It's a good amount of money, but that's almost 2 decades worth, right? So that's kind of influencer style. You're putting out effort, you're getting things back, right?
Yeah.
Versus my main business, Ad Outreach, right? My Aleric Heck YouTube channel, where I talk about the power of video marketing. I'm speaking directly to my ideal clients. I'm connecting with them in value-based content. That channel, we've got, about 83,000 subscribers, right, on this channel that I have. And I also run YouTube ads too. And we'll talk about the ad side of things, but YouTube ads and the YouTube channel growth. But overall, this has made, this channel, it's pushing on over 40 million, and we're getting closer to between that 40 and 50, depending on what elements of my business you kind of incorporate into it. But over 40 million from that channel, and the not just the organic content, but also the ads we've ran on that channel. And so you can see like the difference. More is not always better. more views, more subscribers. Sometimes it's about the tactical, targeted way to actually build a channel that's designed to speak to your ideal audience. And especially if you have a high ticket offer or service,
Yeah.
and you're a business, you want to speak to those people that are actually interested in what it is that you do.
It's almost the new business card. I was searching so hard to find that old iPhone 7 video as quickly as I could. I failed. I didn't
Oh
find it
yeah.
yet. But over 2 million. Was that all AdSense revenue?
Mostly AdSense revenue, but I had over 250 sponsors. I think over 300, but
So
definitely over
sponsorship
250
too.
when I added up there. Oh, sponsors, and these are all like mostly mobile apps that were paying
Sure.
between 500 and like $5,000 to like sponsor the YouTube channel. The average being like maybe like $1,000 sponsorship, right? I would
Yeah, yeah,
feature
yeah.
their app.
I mean, however,
Um,
it's done. It was just
yeah.
as we're having this more client revenue based conversation around video authority. I was like, okay, hold on. Let's talk about the general part example that you're giving. I was like, that's still not nothing, but yeah, that's sponsorship based, AdSense based. But moving on to the ad outreach and being more strategic, client based
Mhm.
type of channel. That's more my love language. Here's one takeaway that I had when I hear lots of leads, lots of views, not a lot of clients. I think about all those phone calls I think that are unqualified, that
Yeah.
I'm talking and talking and call after call, and people just no one buying. I think about that from the sales lens, sales perspective, like, oh man, like I'd never want to relive those days. And so the hot flashes that I'm experiencing over here is the pain of what you're describing is like, Chris, here's how you make that pain go away. Here's how we focus not just optimizing for views, but optimizing for video and customer journey, where we're not attracting, we're also probably educating and qualifying also. And as you know more than anyone on YouTube, it lives. It's not just here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. It has some longevity to it. So, okay, I would love to continue this conversation specifically on how Alaric do we leverage YouTube. I'm going to use myself as a use case just at least to kick us off, and we'll see how far we get with it. But if you go to our YouTube channel right now, maybe just past 3,000 subscribers, not huge view count. Um, what would you say? Like, how do we drive more clients from YouTube? Most of our YouTube is we use FlowChat to grow FlowChat. We're going on social media. We're doing outreach, DM campaigns. I would love to flood our calendar with more video based leads that are already qualified. Where do we start?
Yeah. So what I love is sharing frameworks that you can apply specifically to you, but anybody watching or listening can apply these frameworks. So I'm actually going to give a few key frameworks, and
Okay.
then you could put yourself into this. So of course, Chris, yourself, but for FlowChat, but everybody else who's watching or
Yeah,
listening to this, you could put yourself in and see what this means for you. So there's a
exactly.
few key frameworks. I'll actually just tell you what these frameworks are, and then I will break them down. So first is the framework of the type of content you want to create. And this is value driven content that's actually going to reach your ideal audience, but still allow the channel to grow and attract people to watch those pieces of content. So there's a Venn diagram. There's three components that we're going to talk about in a second. So the types of content to create. Then we're going to talk about how you show up on camera. We have the four C's. So we're going to dive into that. And then we'll talk about the 5 elements of a successful YouTube video. And from that, we'll also talk about how you can then market that video using YouTube's free marketing resource that everybody knows about, but they don't really know that this is actually what it is. And so, again, that's a little bit of an open loop. We'll come back to that in a second. But these frameworks are going to be the key. And the reason I'm speaking in frameworks, this is something actually I had to learn through the process of writing this book, is you want to have a timeless framework that can apply to all kinds of different businesses. It's not just about, okay, tactically, this is what you specifically should do. You want to have a framework to focus on it. So what content should you create? This is one of the biggest questions a lot of people ask. Well, we have found the best performing client attracting content is a Venn diagram of 3 things. And if you only have 1 or 2 of the things, you're not going to have the most high impact type of content. So the first element is something that you are uniquely an expert at slash you have a unique opinion on and something to add. So you have some type of expertise in this topic or related to this topic you can talk about. combined with what your ideal clients are searching for or want, that then can lead them into potentially becoming a client of yours, combined with what's trending right now and what is getting more popular. So, as an example, right, one of the things that you could do is you could talk about with FlowChat, if we go into these three areas. So you're an expert at these AI based chats that are going to be able to with your software, right, allow you to book more appointments and get more people scheduled. So that is your expertise. What do people want? They want more leads and clients. What is trending right now? What's trending right now are some of the different AI tools. So what you could do is you could put a video about the strategy that's generating high quality leads better than Claude Cowork.
Yeah.
Why is that a great video? That's a great video because the type of person who's going to watch that video, right, is your ideal client. So it hits that first bucket, right? This is somebody who's an ideal client for you. The
Mm-hmm.
second piece is you have unique expertise, you have credibility in this because of everything you've done with FlowChat. You're able to demonstrate that. We're gonna actually, we can even continue this example into, okay, well, how do you actually like show up on the video, and then what do you produce in the video? Like what's the kind of script? But in terms of the concept of the video,
Yeah.
that's what your ideal clients are searching for. You're uniquely suited to talk about it, and therefore it can lead into FlowChat. And then what's trending. Now, what's the element that takes this video from a 6 or a 7 to a 9 or 10?
I'm listening.
The element is actually the trending area, but in your area of expertise, including the word Claude Cowork and the leads and your expertise all together makes this a high value video because somebody searching for Claude Cowork, they're not necessarily, especially the people you're looking to reach, are people that maybe don't already know about FlowChat, or maybe they heard
True.
about it once, but they're not necessarily searching for it.
True.
So you want to reach people, you want to ride the trend of Claude Cowork, but not just talk about Claude Cowork. You want to talk about why this is better. You're also speaking to what they're going to get from it, and you're also going to demonstrate your expertise. When you hit all three of those things, you're going to have a high value video. Does that make sense? Like that first kind of framework, and other people can apply the same thing.
So fire. Yes. And me asking an example, I'm like, well, it's easy for me to think on what I'm thinking about, but anyone listening, watching this, like, I know you're not thinking about me. You're thinking about your business because that's what Aleric and I do too. So that's a great framework. Thank you for even going further and applying it. Like this is what a headline would sound like. But now that we do have the direction and we do have the headline, how do we make it an awesome video?
Awesome. So we're going to dive into in a second what to actually include in the video. But I think some people skip there a little too fast. You also want to focus on how you're showing up in the video and the things that you're taking people through to actually drive a conversion. We call it the 4 C's, because you could film that video and kind of have a little bit of a delivery where you're saying, okay, well, FlowChat is going to be better than Claude Cowork, and here's why, and here's a quick demo, and you should go and do it. Versus actually using these 4 C's, which is going to be better, which is your character, how you're showing up and demonstrating that authentically in the video. Connecting with the audience, credibility. So what's the credibility? How have you helped other people? And then call to action, and actually being very clear. The next step is to get your free trial or to sign up or to book a call with FlowChat. So how could you demonstrate that? Well, character is now, and I know this is something I also know with you, Chris, like you're not afraid to do this, but I think other people listening or watching, right? Sometimes you feel like you need to be somebody else, right? That's not the case. You want to be yourself. Your character is going to shine through. So I'm a little bit more, kind of like a, nerdy guy. I love like, escape rooms and board games. And, I just got a pinball machine. Like, I'm not going to hide that, right? It's like, those different things. Like, I think that at one point I was trying to hide, and maybe be somebody else. And, like other people, other online marketers I saw online, I'm like, but actually what I learned is who I am, right, is going to appeal to the people that are interested in, learning from me and my expertise. And they're also going to pick up if I'm being inauthentic. So, being authentic, I think, is really a key element. I know it's very cliche, but having that shine through in the video, I think is great. And so, it's like, with yourself, right? Like the shirt you're wearing right now, which is fantastic, by the way, but that's like you're being authentically like yourself, showing up on here, not afraid to like, jump in and just be, be who you are, and also have that energy and that passion. And so that's, I think, one thing that I think is really good is like showing up as who you are on those videos, the character. Then you want to connect. This is where you're telling a story. This is where you're connecting deeper with people. So in your case, one of the things that you could do is you could talk about how the reason that you made, FlowChat, and I know, some of these different things, but I might be kind of paraphrasing or
Yeah,
interjecting
yeah.
you would
You're
your
flowing,
own,
man. Yeah, keep
but
going.
is because of a lot of what you saw out there didn't work that well. And even, other, platforms or other things like, getting frustrated with what was possible. And so other people can resonate with that. So you talking about how, one of the reasons that you built this and it exists is because it can be really frustrating. Or you could tell a story on, related to Claude or something like that, right? Because we're now talking about Claude, right? But you're connecting with them. So you want to have something that they're going to be able to relate to. Then credibility, that's where you talk about, of course, your credibility, but also in this case, the results that you've gotten people. So you actually did a great job at this earlier on, where it was like, I think that's also in like the demo video or whatever about FlowChat, but talking about how it, is able to book all these appointments. And, so using an example of this is so and so, and here's like an example of what we were able to do throughout the video. Then the call to action, not being afraid to encourage people to take action, to sign up, and then having some type of compelling offer. Does that make sense? Like the character, connect, credibility, call to action.
Yeah, do you think of these in a sequence, or do you think of these as just like four boxes that we want to check, and then CTA is more than likely coming at the end, or do you suggest doing this like, like 15 seconds or 30 seconds in the video? What's the sequence of these?
Great question. And what I will say is it is more of check boxes that you follow throughout the video, but it's in the way that would be a normal sequence. So character, it's like a reminder to always show like to show up authentically from the very beginning. Usually you want to connect first before going into credibility, because why is that? If you go into credibility before connect, people read, oh, your ego is talking, versus, oh, they've connected with me. Who is this person? Okay, I resonate with this person. Oh, wow, like they really are an expert. That's great. Now you built up that credibility, and then the call to action at the end. So it is generally the order you can put them in, but you want this to be throughout the video, versus the next framework we're going to go into is the actual framework for
Mm,
how the video should
the
flow
sequence.
itself.
Okay, right on,
Yeah,
man.
sequence.
Okay, well, let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah. So there's 5 key elements to your organic, YouTube video or long form content. Again, YouTube, that's our favorite platform for this. And I know we're talking about this here, but I just also got to say, for everybody who is watching or listening, there is immense power in YouTube. It's the second largest search engine after Google. So people are searching for your content, and not your content, but searching for the content that you have, right? They want to know, what are the best AI tools right now? What are the best strategies to get more leads and clients? What are the best X, Y, and Z? And YouTube's gotten much more better with an algorithm, so you don't have to have a ton of subscribers to have a high value video that gets in front of people, right? So YouTube's actually now incentivizing, content creators who are starting out to produce high value content, because it's based around the watch time. But the other thing is, YouTube is one of the biggest areas where all these LLMs, especially Gemini, but really all the LLMs, are getting the information from YouTube transcripts, and that's now being included in results on Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT. So people are asking, okay, what's the best, software for this? If you now, or what's an alternative to Claude Cowork? If you've made the video talking about that, that's gonna, I mean, it'll basically be in Gemini like that, but then it has an opportunity to get indexed on the other platforms too. Because what do all the chat models need? They need
Google.
constant new data that they know is real. And how do they know it's real and not AI generated? Well, right now, of course, there are, AI models that are doing videos, but they know for a good varying degree that they can get a lot of fresh content from YouTube, and YouTube allows their content to get scraped not just by, Google itself, but also by other platforms, because it's getting indexed and reported back, sent back to YouTube. So all the AI models now are basically learning off of YouTube content.
So powerful.
Um, Yeah, so super powerful. All right, that was a little bit of a tangent, but I just had to talk about the
Well,
power of
it's
YouTube.
also relevant,
Yeah,
right? Because we're using all these different LLMs, different models. There's a complete it's such a battle going on right now. Who's the best? Anthropic actually, is like selling a bunch, but Google and Meta are still just massive in terms of capital and team and every. So we'll see where that all shakes out. But to your point, when we're trying to grab attention in the market through all of the noise that's been mentioned, YouTube videos are being accessed, they're being transcribed and accessible to any of them. So if we're focused on this one domino, so to speak, it's kind of opening up some doors where people are actually searching more and more now.
exactly. So that's the thing that we're seeing is it's opening up more and more of of these doors, and it's a massive opportunity for you to be that expert. And you're really not going to get a faster way to rank in these LLMs that I have seen because again, everybody's doing the blog things. You have an opportunity to come out on YouTube and get that index pretty quick. So that's one other thing that we're seeing. Again, it's a whole new area. I'm not proclaiming to be an AEO expert. I'm a YouTube expert, and I know that it has that impact. And the interesting thing is, if you ask, especially Gemini, but some of the other models get updated a little bit later, right? But so sometimes it's when you turn research on. But Gemini is absolutely pulling in all the information, and now that's populating inside of Google searches right away. So, anyways, diving in to the framework. So
Yeah.
a little bit of preamble before we got into the framework, but here's the framework.
Yeah.
So the framework that we have at the beginning is we have a hook, and I also love that you started this podcast with a hook, right? That you don't want to go viral, you want to get clients, because that's exactly how I do also my Marketing Minds podcast, which I know we're also setting up to have you guys on that as well, which is going to be exciting. But that's how I start my podcast as well is a hook. And why is that? Because that's what's going to capture attention. And that's the most important part of your video. You have the title, people see the title, they see the thumbnail. We're going to talk about those in a second, right? So that's what gets people to click. But what gets them to stay? People are so fickle. They will leave. They will leave right away if they do not have the information or have something that's going to hook them. And so you want to prove, okay, hey, you clicked on this video, you made a good choice. And by the way, here's something that maybe you didn't expect us to talk about. Like in this case, you don't want to go viral. Now, like, wait, I got to hear more. They're going to listen and they're going to pay attention. So hook, that's the first one. So hook, story, you're going to tell a story that's just similar to the connect, right? So again, like these elements follow what we're talking about before, but this is more of the framework. So story, what's a story that you can tell? And again, it could be a story about a client utilizing FlowChat. It could be a story about your experience with Claude, right? It doesn't have to directly be about FlowChat right off the bat. In this example of the example we're doing for you, right? But it could be a story about yourself, a story about a client. It could be, basically some type of way to incorporate a story into it because that's what gets people to continue to pay attention. Then what you're going to do next is you're going to start educating. Now, somewhere in there, you'll add credibility, either in the story or as you go into educate. So again, it's a little bit of a different framework than the one we talked about before, but now you want to educate. And this is where you're teaching on whatever it is that you're, providing value for. YouTube is a entertainment and learning platform. We're not talking about the entertainment. That's the people trying to go viral, right? Which, by the way, is also a lot harder and not necessarily going to reach the people that you're looking for. We're talking about education. And here's the value. Here's the really cool part. If you have valuable information and knowledge and you're an expert or you have a business that provides like a great service that solves problems that people have, you have everything you need to create amazing educational content. I would not put myself up there, against all the, other entertainment comedian, YouTube, Mr. Beast videos. Like, I'm not, handing away like $1 million and like, going
Yeah.
and doing, explosions and all this stuff. But what I do have is my knowledge and expertise. And that's what I can stand behind. So we don't want to compete on the entertainment side. We want to compete on the education side and the learning side. And that's where we're going to provide value. So that's why we actually want to have value inside of the video. And that's really important. That's also, I think, the biggest mistake or trap that you could potentially fall into, Chris, as well, is, just jumping right into a demo without necessarily talking about the value this is going to provide or educating them on, in this case, maybe the difference between Claude and this. The demo is going to be great, but it should be a part of the education, not the only piece. Does that kind of make sense on that side too?
Totally, totally. Yeah, it's just keeping in perspective, like, what are we doing here? What's the outcome? What do I get if I sit here and listen to you for 2 to 10 plus minutes?
Exactly, exactly. And so you have the educate, then the summary. Now, this is also an important piece too, because on a long form YouTube video, people want to know that they got value before you actually have a call to action. So transitioning right into the call
Hmm,
to
this
action
is good.
is not quite as powerful as a summary. So, and you're not saying, okay, this is the summary. Instead, what you're doing. So let's say you've
Yeah.
now had this whole video where you're like, did you know that there's a better that there's a better tool that you can use than Claude Cowork to get more ideal leads and clients for your business. And one of the biggest challenges people are having with Claude Cowork is finally solved. We're going to dive into all of that. Then tell a story. And so here is my experience. I was so impressed by Claude Cowork, but one of the things it doesn't really have is this element. And a lot of people were asking me about that, and insert client that asked me about this. And so that's why, this thing that you can't do there, you can do over here, and it's all automated. And let me actually show my screen. Here's how FlowChat works. Then you dive in, you start showing, all the different things. And then from there, instead of going right into, all right, now go sign up, what you're going to do instead is you're going to say, so now you've seen the differences, right, between Claude Cowork and what you can do with FlowChat. And here's some of the key elements to remember that I just taught you about. So this, and this. It's really important to keep that in mind. Now, here's the thing. There's only so much I can tell you about this. I want you to experience it for yourself and see how powerful it's going to be. So I put a link down below with, trial or demo, etc. Right? And so you've summarized, then you get into the call to action. So I just did kind of the final two pieces, summarize, call to action. So to recap, it's the hook, and then after you hook them in, you're telling a story. So hook, story, educate, summary, call to action, and that's the framework.
How long would you make the hook? Just a statement? It's like a 1 2 second punch. Do you go?
Yeah, yeah. So it would be a 1 to 2 sentence hook. You don't want to spend too much time on it. You also don't want to immediately give a payoff. So in this case, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but I would not necessarily immediately. Now, they can gather this if they look at your channel name or they look at the description, but like I wouldn't immediately say the answer is FlowChat because people are going to kind of potentially bounce. It's like you actually want to say instead, we're going to dive into the software that's actually going to be even better than Claude Cowork and some of the different things you can do about it. Like again, that ironically, that should actually help get more people interested because you're building up this anticipation versus giving it away right away.
Just
So
like
I
this
would have a
free
hook.
way of advertising on YouTube that you described earlier, but we're still sitting in this open loop because you haven't given it to us yet. So if you're still
Exactly.
watching and listening to this and you're thinking the same thing, stay tuned because it's coming. Yeah, no, I like what you're saying. Like that's coming to mind. I was like, oh, that's literally what you just did based on what you're teaching and sharing now. The I think like zooming out just a touch, even on the hook, the story, the educate, when think about anyone listening, watching, when you're watching a YouTube video, like the first 8 seconds, the first 30 like it's really got to hook you, it's really got to keep you in, and it's such a vital part of creating content specifically on YouTube. And so like I'm trying to size up, like, I know it's not going to be an exact science. There's also some art to it. But how do you think about the hook, story, and educating, and when that kicks in, and managing that first part of the video to make sure that the retention, on viewership is there?
Yeah. So that's the big thing that I would say is it's going to be a little bit different. People are going to get their own feeling and style for it, but generally your hook, you really want it to be 10 or 15 seconds. Then you're going to tell a story. You don't really want to have that be more than a minute. So
Okay.
think about it as like what could you tell in like in the length of a reel. And then but it obviously is part of a long form video. And then I would jump into the educate within, definitely within like 1 to 2 minutes max. You want to start teaching. But you don't want to just start teaching right away because then you're not like teasing them for what's the value going to be. The story gets them like staying paying attention, right? It's just people love stories, and then that perfectly gets into the educate section, and then the educate, that's where it's really going to vary, right? So you could have anywhere from, it could be a short education section like that's a couple minutes long all the way to 20 minutes or more. And the thing is, I wouldn't draw it out too much. I would make it like, what do you need to actually explain the what and the why, and possibly a little bit of the how, depending on the video.
Mhm.
And then you will do the summary. Again, the summary should be 30 seconds. The call to action should be 30 seconds to a minute. And then that's basically the end of the video. So
Okay.
so the educate's the most variable part of that.
Okay, so there's a really important piece here. We've covered the Venn diagram, the three different buckets. If you combine with these powers combined,
Yeah.
you're going the right strategic direction. You want to help ideate all the different titles and hooks from there. We've got the 4 C's, and then we've got the 5 keys to creating great content. This is great, Aleric. We're going this path where we have the nice video form. But if we zoom out and we're now pumping out all of these great videos, where do they live in the real world? Yes, of course, on YouTube, but how does that relate to our sales funnel and the customer journey? And when are they, how do we organize this part specifically being customer journey focused?
Yeah. So the big way that we organize it to be focused on the customer journey and attracting clients is the way that we're structuring this overall video, how we're presenting ourselves, and the types of content we're talking about. It's all leading, it's like a funnel. It's leading people to that call to action. So I think the way to think about it is all three of these areas. It's not because it's one of those things, right? It's like, what's going to work the best is actually incorporating these different strategies. It's not being so kind of salesy that the video is only about sign up, call to action, but it's also not about being so broad like some people try to go viral, where it's like, oh, I'm just going to create like, hey, here's how to set up Claude Cowork, for complete beginners, and like, sure, that might get a lot of views, or maybe not, because also like the thing you think might get a lot of views is what everybody else is doing, try and go viral, right? So it's like you basically have this like, all right, this isn't really related, or this is hyper specific, like why you should sign up for FlowChat, right? Like,
Yeah.
versus this video, you now have a video that is designed to position the next logical step as because you're talking about your expertise, you're hitting something that's trending, so it should get some traction. And also it's something that your ideal clients are searching for or need. So you have that. Then how you're showing up in the video, you are showing up as that expert. So you're showing up as the video authority. That you show up with your character, you're connecting with them, you're demonstrating credibility, and you have a call to action in the video. And then the outline of the video, the hook, is designed to draw people in, get them to watch. The story is designed to get them to like pay attention, but also build the connection, possibly credibility. Then the educate also builds credibility and demonstrates things. And that's also where you're weaving in what you're doing. And then the summary, yep, this was a valuable video. The call to action is where you want them to go. And so all of this together, when you do this enough times, is going to allow you to create these videos that actually drive clients versus just trying to get a bunch of views or creating a super kind of salesy video that people aren't really going to find.
Amazing. Well, the structure and the journey that you've mapped out are really, really helpful. I do want to make sure that people know and it's very clear that you have a lot of developed thought on this. You've been doing this for a long time. There's way more frameworks for them to consume. And so I'd actually like to share screen here and go through a couple of the additional resources that you have available and you've prepared for everyone that has stayed this far. And so here, I'll go ahead and share screen here. We'll talk through a few of these step by step and go from there. Here we go. We can see, here's the YouTube channel I was looking for. Let's start with this one. 7.7 million.
Yes, on YouTube ads. So this is actually great because we didn't really talk as much in depth about YouTube ads here. Now, some of the other stuff we talked about was more on the organic side. So the reason I wanted to share this, I knew we were going to dive a little bit more into YouTube videos and organic content, but the next thing that you can do are ads. By the way, we cannot forget. So at the very end, once we go through some of these, I will share the free method that YouTube uses to allow you to advertise your videos to more people. We'll talk about that in a second. That you might not realize you've heard of, but you don't realize that's what it is. We'll get into that later. But these are actual YouTube ads here. Again, as you can see here, now it's actually over 8 million, but I've spent over $8 million, of my own money on YouTube ads for my own business. We've helped our clients spend a lot more than that, collectively generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. And so I have a whole training on that and a PDF that walks through step by step how to use YouTube ads to get more leads and clients. So you can go to adoutreach.com/gift. That's ADOUTREACH.com/GIFT, adoutreach.com/gift, and get this PDF. So you can start, and a training, of course, a video training that goes along with it to start learning how to use YouTube ads in addition to the organic strategies.
So focusing on organic, I'm curious to get your take on this because as I'm talking to more and more of my marketing friends, this is the pattern I'm hearing is the gap between organic content and paid ads is getting more and more and more narrow. In fact, what am I saying? I'm saying that the best organic videos are really starting to become the best paid ad videos. What's your take on this?
So yes, but with an asterisk. I think that what I would say is oftentimes for shorter form content, that can be true. Longer form content's a little bit different and unique to YouTube. So these long form videos, you can run them as ads, but I would run them as a different type of ad. And I actually talked about this in the PDF and in the training. But basically, there's a couple different types of ads. There's in-stream that run in front of videos. These are the main ads that you're used to. That's what this PDF is mostly talking about. But there's also in-feed ads where you could take a longer form video that appears in search results or as a suggested video, or in the feed as people are scrolling on the feed on YouTube. And those are videos that you get in front of people that allow you to, basically get your content, just like we're doing here, right? Get your content in front of people as they're going on YouTube as an ad. So instead of waiting for the algorithm to reach them, you can run it as an ad. So yes, but it's a specific type of YouTube ad. Meta, it's a little bit different. It really is all converging in Meta with the Andromeda update. Really just taking any video and kind of putting it all together. And with those, it's always in the feed versus on YouTube. There's a difference between ads that are in the feed that pop up as a video and ads that you can actually run in front of other videos as a, more intent-based in-stream ad.
Brilliant. So all this and more on the PDF. I appreciate it. But these are just some frameworks. If you wouldn't mind just jumping on Amazon, you referenced your book, Video Authority. There's plenty of frameworks here if you want to touch on this for a bit.
Yeah. So the book Video Authority, Art and Science of Converting Viewers into Clients. I spent years writing this book and mapping out the best frameworks for this. So I spent a lot of time and effort into this. And really what I wanted to do is have a playbook that you can use to be able to become that video authority and learn the art and science of converting viewers into clients. There's a lot of books that talk about how to get views on YouTube, how to go viral or more tactical. But this is talking about how you can actually go and create video-based content and also ads with the purpose of getting clients. Because the things that you do are going to change when you focus on the end in mind. In this case, the end goal of getting high-paying clients for your business. And so that's what this book really talks about, is how you can both create organic content and also ads designed to speak directly to your ideal client. And then from that should turn into high-value leads, book calls, and clients for your business. And it's all broken down inside of multiple chapters. Of course, the book also includes a complimentary video training as well that dives deep into all this. Because what would a book about video marketing be without a video training that goes along with it? So there's a QR code inside of the book. There's also a bunch of other resources inside of the book too. Basically, Video Authority. You can just look it up right there on Amazon. Want to make it accessible to people.
Well, a couple things. One is as we were talking a little bit earlier, prior to this, I did grab a copy, and just showing this visibly, like repurposing funnel was one. It's on, if anyone's seeing this and like, wait, I want to get the book and actually see that specific page. It's on page 130. But video content repurposing funnel, video, it takes some effort, Aleric. Writing the script, getting the hook. We haven't even talked about thumbnails yet. We should probably cover that in a second because I know you got some fun stuff there too. But when you put it all together and then it does nothing, the song of discouragement sounds so loud. And so anyway, when you finally put all the effort together, really getting all of the juice out of that lemon and that, squeezing, you know what I'm saying, is awesome. And there fortunately are great ways to do this. However, there's a lot of terrible ways to do this, because if you're just chopping stuff up and then posting it everywhere, that's a great way for things not to work. So life has taught me. Anyway, so this is a particular great section. Definitely grab the copy, leverage the resources in the book. I just while I'm thinking about it still, thumbnails is something that like if you don't nail this part, ain't nobody watching your thing. They're not even going to hear your hook or your story or your training. Yeah, speak more about thumbnails.
Yeah, so that's another big area. And actually, this is kind of the next thing that people look at. So they say, all right, I know the frameworks for how to create the videos, but how am I going to have the right title, have the right thumbnail, even come up with ideas for your videos? And that's why I created my AI YouTube thumbnail creation software, thumbnailcreator.com. It actually does a whole lot more than just thumbnails now, which is really exciting. But the thumbnail is one of the most important parts of your video, but a lot of people have it be an afterthought. And so what this does is it allows you to create a YouTube video and then take the unlisted YouTube URL. So you upload a video to YouTube, you take the unlisted URL of the video before you publish it, and you paste it into Thumbnail Creator. And what it will do is actually scan the video, understand what's inside of it. You could train it on your face once, and then after that, it knows your face, it knows the content in the video. You don't even have to prompt it. It will create AI generated YouTube thumbnails for you automatically. It'll give you 10 different variations to choose from. You can edit using prompts. So you can say, okay, I don't like this or change that. And then you can download it, upload it straight to YouTube. And so it's an AI YouTube thumbnail generation software. It also can create titles for you. And now it can even do video ideation. So it can actually research the top videos in the space, in whatever niche you're in, and then give you recommendations for content that can kind of fit these principles I talked about earlier that you can create as well.
A fun before and after. Okay, before this, Chris logs into Canva. Chris pulls template, designs something, or a team member does something similar. Yeah. After, like with this, I like to have like the voice dictation thing. So yes, you can correct it with prompts, or you can just have like the voice dictation thing. You can just talk at your computer and it magically starts creating awesome thumbnails for you just by talking. That's super sexy. So anyway, yeah, very, very helpful, useful tool. Thank you for I can relate to building software tools and what is it all entailed in doing that. I appreciate you putting the effort into this one. Okay, that's great. We've covered the book. We've covered the PDF. What am I missing, Aleric?
So those are, I think the big areas to talk about, but we did, have an open loop. And by the way, on the thumbnailcreator.com, the first 10 thumbnails are free. So feel free to go and check that out and give it a try for yourself. But we left an open loop.
This
So
is
the
true.
open loop is
It's time.
what is the thing that YouTube, allows you to do that basically is free advertising for your long form videos. And everybody knows about this or knows what this thing is, but they don't realize that this is what it's really doing. And so what is this? These are YouTube shorts with a related video. Now I know people be like, all right, well, I know about YouTube shorts. This isn't this like brand new thing, but think about it. This is a free advertisement that YouTube will push out to your ideal audience. The thing is with short form platforms, and you're probably noticing this, they will send it typically to 100 plus people. And if it's a good one, maybe 1,000 or tens of thousands or more people per short get it in the short feed, and then a percentage of those people might be interested in watching the long form content. So if you post, let's say, a long form piece of content each week, you could do a daily short or even multiple daily shorts around that video. And then at the bottom, make sure that you this is the key, turn on the related video. And you can do this when you're uploading a short. You just choose related video, choose the long form video. Then at the bottom of the short, it will have a call to action where people can watch the long form related video. And what we found is typically, this might be a percent to, could be more, could be a little bit less, but even 1 to 2%, if you get hundreds or thousands of views across multiple of these videos, then you're going to be able to get, dozens or hundreds plus of views for your long form content, which are basically free advertising that is going to get people to watch your long form content. But these aren't just random people that click on it. These are people that watch a short, like what they had to see, and they're much more likely to actually stay and watch your long form piece of content. So it is literally free advertising, and there's now AI tools that can create short form content for you, and basically link that to your long form videos. And there may or may not be some updates coming to Thumbnail Creator to make that a little easier for people too. But that being said, not a feature quite yet, but potentially coming soon. We'll see.
Thinking about
but anyways, but all that being said, even outside of that, I highly encourage like going in and there's other great tools too. So I'm a huge advocate of like talking like there's like Opus Clip and things like that are great tools to basically go and get pasting a YouTube video and getting a bunch of different short form clips that you can go and use that to then just promote your longer form videos. And of course, if you can film it more naturally, directly, or have an editor do it, potentially that might create a higher leverage output. But if you're not doing shorts, you absolutely should, and then just link it to your long form video.
Since you have since we're talking about shorts and you have access to so much data on seeing watch time and all this, on shorts, those ones where they make it and then they end the video like halfway through the sentence, but it's also the beginning of the video, so it's this endless loop or whatever. Your take on this? You love it, you hate it?
So for usability purposes, I'm not the so it works. How long it'll work, I think it depends. I think already we're starting to see it not work as well as it used to,
Yeah.
especially now that AI is analyzing so many different things. It worked for a long time because it was essentially a retention hack. So
Yeah.
people would then keep watching, then they would have 100 and something percent average watch time. So the short would get served more. Now, and people don't really realize this yet, we have evolved past just watch time being the most
Hmm.
important stat. It still is the most important stat, right? How long do people watch on that particular video? But now the AI is analyzing the videos, getting a transcript, and actually serving more relevant content to each person.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. Okay, so that's the trends are always changing. Awesome, man.
Exactly.
Well, I appreciate it. For everyone listening, Aleric gave a ton today. Thank you so much for that. Go to adoutreach.com/gift so that you can get your gift and get that PDF on how to, with paid ads, on leveraging your organic even more. As a last question, Aleric, anyone out there that's maybe tried content before, is a little frustrated, or is just a little hesitant to get started in moving in this direction, how would you encourage them?
Yeah. So the big thing I would say is, first of all, there's so much power in video, right? It builds that know, like, and trust. But also, your authentic way that you show up, that is the key. You don't have to be anybody else because your ideal audience is going to be attracted to who you are. And that's also likely what's made your business successful already. And we're also on video all the time, right? Now, not all of our Zoom calls are, going to be,
Good
podcasts
point.
like this, but if you think about it, you're on Zoom calls, you're on FaceTime, you're, in these different, you're using a camera and using video all the time. And so just pretend you're talking with a friend or you're on a call and just record yourself being that natural, passionate self. You're already the expert. So I'd really encourage you to pick up the camera and start creating content.
I appreciate it, Aleric. Thanks for coming out today.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you for your time, attention, listening to these real entrepreneurs that are getting real results. We're having these conversations, figuring this out together. Entrepreneurship often is lonely, but it doesn't have to be. And conversations like this let you know that you're don't have to be alone, and you're not. There's other crazy people like you thinking about these things, trying to solve these things. So for more content like this, stay tuned. We got some more good stuff coming for you. Take care.